Welcome back to Digi Bros, everybody.
Fuck a wall. America should be building a giant mirror so it can take a look at itself. Fuck my ass! This is the hardest shit in the world. I hate this fucking bus. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm getting real fucking sick of the internet. I'm getting real fucking sick of America. I'm getting real fucking sick of faggots complaining about anything. Anyone complaining about anything on either side is just driving me up a fucking wall. And I could tolerate it for a long time, but it stopped being fun. It stopped being entertaining. It is just annoying the living shit out of me. I can't stand anything anymore. Nothing is fun. Oh my god, this whole Trump shit. We've refrained from talking about Trump, but it might be time because it's driving me fucking insane. We've managed to avoid it.
We've managed to avoid drowning.
We've managed to avoid drowning. And it's just, oh my god. Me and Ben were talking about how, like, because people have become such fucking freaking out crybabies over Trump, that it's made people like me and him start to feel weird because we start to become Trump defenders.
Right.
Because the people are freaking out so severely, and then like I end up defending Trump and Trump supporters a lot because I think the people freaking out are even more obnoxious. And then I'm just like, this isn't the right place I should be in because I don't like Trump and I don't support him. But I'm also so fucking annoyed by the people freaking out in the world and all the pretentious, annoying shit I see on Facebook. It's just, it's so frustrating.
Such as the quote you opened the episode with.
It's just like, please, everyone, just shut the fuck up. Stop with your fucking Donald Trump protests. You lost the election. It sucks. We're gonna have to pay for it. But doing a bunch of protests it's not getting us anywhere. It's solving nothing. It's so obnoxious.
I'm glad that I don't have any friends.
Yeah.
It's times like these when I feel really good about being like
it's all Facebook,
socially
man. It's all
reclusive,
fucking Facebook. It's just it was already the worst, and now it's just God.
See, when I go on Facebook, I see like whatever newest. Pretty much, I just see Jesse Wood, each of our parents, and like a few of our close friends who don't care about anything. So I never see any shit posting on there. Like I don't see anybody complaining about the election all that much. It was really bad when it was happening on Twitter. Twitter was a fucking nightmare, and Twitter's still kind of bad. I still see people Trump posting and stuff and having and being like way too scared about shit, but it's not nearly as bad as it was the day of.
And then what sucks even more is that things keep getting worse. And then, like, Trump will do stupid shit. And it's just like, just make it stop. Just stop being an idiot because I'm sick of hearing this shit. I don't care. Just stop it. Make it all end. It's so unbelievably annoying and it's just getting worse.
Well, it was pretty cathartic watching the Dick Show with his huge Trump celebration.
Yes, that was pretty great because it was the other perspective.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to hear the other perspective.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, the internet is so... I think the reason that this happened and that people are freaking out so much is that the internet as a whole leans liberal. You know?
I won. I was about to die. Holy shit. But yes, that's why this is such a catastrophe. Is because the internet's a bunch of fucking stupid liberals and they all sit there in their funnel and fucking reassure each other. Right. And then all of a sudden they get blindsided and they fucking have a fit. And it's like, well, you don't seem to acknowledge the vast majority of America.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that if you're only on the internet, it seems like... Because, I mean, the internet's everywhere, right? You talk to every kind of person, and yeah, there are plenty of, non-liberals on the internet, so you feel like you're seeing it all, but, like... I think the overwhelming majority of people who don't have the internet are probably not liberal.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're liberal, you probably have the internet.
Just,
you know?
Conservatives are just in a different spot of the internet that no one was looking at. I don't think so.
I know
there was a big vocal minority for Trump supporters, and it's like, you just assumed it was a vocal minority, but it turned out
But that's the thing. On the internet, it's a vocal minority.
Yeah.
But off the internet, it's not even a minority. You know, like, people who don't use the internet, who don't use social media.
It wasn't that huge of a surprise to me, because I go into Kevin's doghouse, and I see the people around me, and I go, no shit, all these people voted for Trump. Just, you can see it in people's face. Like, you can see personality types, and you can tell why Clinton lost over Trump. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. And everyone's just so misguided about who vote. Like, everyone wants to believe that if they voted for Trump, they're all racist, and that's proof that our country is full of racists.
Fucking insane. You know? It's like, how ridiculous do you have to be to believe that? Like, the racists are a problem. I've already experienced empowered douchebags, like, at 7-Eleven. I told you that story, right?
I don't think so.
I was in 7-Eleven, and there were some, white redneck dudes, and they were talking about Trump, and then one guy said, like, he was like, that was a victory for middle-class white men. Fuck everyone else. And he said it in the 7-Eleven at a volume that was obviously meant to be heard. And, like, there was the Indian dude working behind the counter who was just kind of like, brushing it off. But it was like, this guy was obviously trying to start some shit. And so there is the problem of empowered white douchebags. But, like, it's so gross to assume that everyone's motivations were that they were fucking racist.
Right.
Because there are some policies that, like, wishful thinking Donald Trump, has some decent stances on, where like his ideas behind a lot of the things he wants to do make sense and are obvious ideas. Like, yeah, let's make America great again. Let's do certain things, let's get our jobs back and all that shit. It's just like I understand why people would hear that and go, yeah, let's do that. He told people what they want to hear, so it makes sense. It's not all about racism. Most people, have a logical brain and can see past those aspects of his campaign.
Yeah. I agree. I don't want to go any further down the Trump hole.
Yes, let's not go for. I want to have a bunch of fucking obnoxious Digi Rose comments. I don't want to seem like some fucking raging Trump supporter.
Well, I mean, aside from that, I've heard this argument now from everybody.
Exactly. It's like the next. Okay, this is where the problem should have fucking ended, and why I'm so sick of hearing this shit is that the next day after Trump got elected, President Obama made a great speech about how you need to get over it. Casey Neistat made a great speech about getting over it. Everyone puts out a fucking great speech about getting the fuck over it, and nobody got over it. I'm like, these are the wisest, fucking coolest people telling you to get the fuck over it, and no one can get over it.
Jesse made a whole video, a whole 40-minute video begging the whole world to get over it.
Exactly. It's like, we lost the fight. It's going to be a shitty 4 years. Sometimes that happens. You just got to pick yourself up. It's not a nuclear holocaust yet,
Yeah.
Be a little optimistic.
Well,
and then there's all these stupid BuzzFeed articles about, like, fuck the optimists. You all need to shut the fuck up. And it's like,
God.
Oh, you douchebags. Just stop it. Stop raging.
Well, Victor, I think this is going to be a possibly weird statement. I think you and I have the advantage of having been depressed and suicidal.
Perhaps.
Because I think
nothing could be worse than that, so we
right.
don't care.
I think when you've been depressed and suicidal, you kind of view it as like, well, if you're not alive, then everything's going great. I mean, if you are alive, right?
Yes.
Like, if you're alive, then you've already won. Like, to me, anything that's not, like, either literal death or me not being able to do what I want to do anymore is not that big a deal, And yeah, there's a chance that that Trump's like, if what people are afraid of happening happens, then people will die and people will not be able to do what they want to do. But it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And like once it happens, I'll be angry about it. Once it becomes, and I'm not saying that there hasn't been any violence incited by Trump, but it hasn't been on a scale that would suggest it wouldn't have been this way anyways.
Yeah.
It always would have been this way. If no matter who won, there would have been violence.
You don't think the Klan would have voted for the Republican either way? Like
Right.
Like, all the racist douchebags wouldn't have been empowered if Mitt Romney hadn't won. Like,
Right.
it's still a win for the douchebags. Like,
Right.
either way.
I think no matter
they're gonna vote for someone.
and even then, who says that they're only gonna be violent because they're empowered? You know? Or who says that a Hillary supporter wouldn't have been violent? They clearly have shown that they can be.
Yes, that's the great hypocrisy is another funny part of it.
So yeah, like when it becomes like an actual measurable like difference in
Louis can
reality,
kick the wall.
then I'll be worried about something, But to me, it's like nothing's fallen apart just yet, and as long as I'm alive, I consider it like it's still fine. Like I'm still able to do my job. Now I'm a privileged white boy. But I haven't.
We can't talk about it, Conrad. We can't even voice our opinions on this shit because we're privileged white peoples, so it doesn't apply to us. We can't even be part of the conversation.
Well,
I've literally seen articles saying that. Like, if you're a privileged white person, just shut the fuck up because, of course, you're not scared.
Well, because we're smarter and above the people who wrote those articles, I'm going to offer my stance, which is that, there is a chance that things will get worse for some people. But until it becomes like this overwhelming trend that clearly this is worse than it would have been, if it gets worse than it would have been, then I'll be mad about it. Then I'll be worried about it. But so far, we have no clue. We have no idea where this is going to go. Could it actually be worse than, like, the Bush administration? Who knows? What if it's better than that? Trump has said a lot of stupid shit, but he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
So let's wait.
And his fucking Hamilton Twitter war did not fucking help any case. It was just like,
hilarious.
Dude, god damn it, stop. Just fucking stop tweeting.
What's funny to me is that, like, Trump is so known for the fact that he's like full of shit and flip-flops constantly. So that's why I don't get why people are afraid that like anything he's going to do, like says will happen, when the main complaint everyone has about him is that he's full of shit and doesn't deliver on anything he says.
And he's already going back on a lot of shit. So whatever.
He was always going back on shit.
It's like that's one of the things that makes me feel optimistic, but then like he puts a bunch of douchebags in his cabinet and you're like, So it's a very flip-floppy thing for me right now in terms of...
I'll wait. When I see something bad happening, and I know the best way to prevent a tragedy is with foresight, but, like, what are we going to do now? There's nothing that we can do legally or morally, before something's happened, because that's what we call thought crime. And, I feel like there's a lot of like liberals and just general people, like I think the ethos of social justice in general is like they actually want a dystopia. I think that people who like believe in like in like the way that social justice warriors do their thing, they actually want thought police. They want thought crime to be a real thing. They want you to not be able to say whatever you want. They want that to be illegal. That's the same thing as Big Brother. You can jump up that, Vic. You can grab.
I thought I had to make the other one go higher. Whatever.
No.
You're right.
Yeah, they literally want a dystopia, and it's like that's not the world we live in. Where you're innocent till proven guilty. You have to actually commit a crime. That's how the country works, and I'd like it to stay that way.
Because everyone just wants things until it's inconvenient for them, or vice versa. Like. Fucking as soon as Trump gets elected, everyone's bitching about the Electoral College again. And it's like, well, where was the bitching before the election? You know? Like, why weren't we changing this the whole time? Yeah. If Clinton won, we wouldn't be hearing any of this shit, or we'd just be hearing it from the other side.
For what it's worth, I mean, I made a video complaining about the whole election system after it happened, but that's because I was doing it opportunistically.
Yeah.
Like, I have this problem all the time. I'm always thinking that we need to change it, but who's going to listen to you if you're just bringing it up out of the blue.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's why I went out of my way to, like, share CGP Grey's video and stuff, because I'm like, this is a time where those of us who have already been thinking about this get to say, hey, everybody, now that you care, here's a link that can help, you know?
Certainly.
Oh, what's that? Not satisfied with the election? Well, I happen to know of this little theory that could totally change everything, you know? Like, that's kind of how I saw it.
But it's funny because I feel like in this election, it was actually a win on the side of the Electoral College being a thing. Because if you look at the maps of the support and shit, like, Clinton won big cities.
Right.
And the whole point of the Electoral College is so big cities won't steamroll rural areas that don't have a, you know, bigger amount of people. So it's like the 300,000 people that Clinton probably won in the, you know, in the popular vote that everyone's pissed about.
While I get that, like, if the big cities have the majority of the population and those people get fucked over by the small places, then it's just as much of a problem.
I don't know, because it could have been, like, 300,000 people difference just in New York City. And, like, New York City is not a great representation of the whole rest of the country.
Yeah, but if there's more people in New York City than the rest of the country, then you're fucking over more people if you fuck over New York City. That's why that argument doesn't hold water to me. I'm like, it should be the popular vote because, yeah, it doesn't help the people in the smaller states, but there's less people in the smaller states, meaning less people are being affected. Less people are having a worse time, you know? And that's, like, the whole point is to have the most possible people. Now, this calls into question the entire idea of America, and is it even a good idea to have such a big fucking country where people have so many different needs? I would say no. You know? If anything, I would have more of a separatist mindset. Like, yeah, make it a bunch of separate states. That makes way more fucking sense. Let them set their own rules, you know? Yeah.
No!
But then I also think we could, I wouldn't mind having a world government and having everybody just kind of... Yeah. But you're only going to get that with, like, resource...
I guess it also brings it back to, like...
lack of
how many of these issues should be state issues and not presidential issues anyways?
Right.
Like, the president shouldn't be representing the states because they have their own governments, and that's the whole point.
It's complicated. Our country's too fucking big and complicated.
It's a big mess, and it's a headache, and I'm not a politician. So, like Jesse said, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't even vote.
I think that the only thing that keeps our government and country making any sense is that basic human experience is pretty much the same everywhere. Like, we're all basically the same person. You know, we have, like, different things we think we want and, like, little minor differences in our lives. And, you know, the economy is kind of the most important thing in a way because, like, that's the biggest difference between us is what jobs are we doing, you know, and how can we hold on to our jobs and keep them. All the social stuff is, like, you know, this, like, weird... God, I hate that any of it has to be thought about, and it does, you know, and it's a huge deal, but it's, like... I feel like the reason the country holds up under all of that is that at the end of the day, we all have the same basic shit we're trying to do, you know? Like, regardless of whether you can or can't get gay married, a gay person is still just trying to fucking live the same way a straight person is. And that's why the country hasn't torn itself to fucking shreds yet.
Hashtag gays for Trump. There's plenty of those around.
If people had more time, they would tear this country to shreds. Like, if everyone didn't have to, you know, work 60 fucking hours a week just to keep themselves, you know, just to keep their kids fed. If people had, like, free time... they would immediately rethink everything we're doing and totally change the country, I think, you know? But we don't have time. No one has time to worry about... If you spend too much time thinking about politics and what's going on in the world, it's just a distraction from, you know, what you're trying to actually do, which is fucking work and provide. So, yeah. That's my theory.
Politics are gay!
Gay theory!
Oh, man. I just want to go back to not giving a shit anymore. Fuck!
Well, we ended up filling the entire episode with politics.
Sure did.
I'm just going to title this episode Skip This One.
Skip this one. That's perfect.
And yeah, that's it. See you next time.